Hello everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we're going to explore a deeply emotional Christmas story about Huyen, Dee, little Maya, and an unexpected guest named Thomas. It's a journey through quiet pain, unconditional love, healing, and the surprising warmth that kindness can bring, even between strangers. From a mother's promise to protect her child, to moments of gratitude, forgiveness, and the longing for a peaceful life. This story reminds us what Christmas truly means beyond lights and decorations. If you enjoy heartfelt stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our upcoming videos. Let's begin. Early winter sunlight slips through the old wooden curtains, landing gently on the modest dining table, where Huyen is busy preparing a simple bowl of instant noodles for her daughter. The house is quiet, almost peaceful, until Maya's soft voice breaks the stillness. "Mom, I don't want to go to Grandpa's house anymore. Grandma keeps scolding Maya. She said she doesn't need a granddaughter." Those words, spoken so innocently, strike Huyen like a sharp blade. Her hands pause mid-motion, the steam rising from the pot as her vision blurs with unshed tears. She lowers herself to the floor, pulling Maya into a tight embrace, holding the small, trembling body against her chest. In a whisper, barely louder than a breath, Huyen apologizes again and again, as if her words could erase the unseen wounds carved into her child's heart. By midday, the sunlight has softened. Huyen holds Maya's small hand as they step into the familiar yard of her father's old house. Dry leaves scatter under a light breeze, stirring memories that were once warm but now feel heavy and complicated. Huyen takes a deep breath, steadying herself before speaking. "Dad," she says, her voice trembling but firm. "From now on, I don't want Maya to go back there anymore." Grandfather's eyes move to his granddaughter, who clings tightly to her mother's side. A quiet sadness passes over his aged face. Slowly, Huyen explains everything. The harsh scoldings, the cutting words, the sentence that hurt the most. She doesn't need a granddaughter. Her voice cracks as she continues. "As a mother, I can endure being hurt, but I can't let my daughter endure that." Silence fills the space between them. Grandfather reaches out with a trembling hand, resting it gently on Maya's head. For a moment, time seems frozen. Pain, love, and regret tangle together in the air. At last, he nods slowly. "Since you've said so," he murmurs, "I understand. You can rest assured." Relief washes through Huyen's chest, though a faint unease still lingers. Maya looks up at her grandfather, her eyes no longer filled with fear, but with a cautious, childlike trust. As they prepare to leave, he waves to her, promising to visit on the weekend. Huyen turns away, holding Maya close, her steps steadier as they walk home. Christmas is coming, and this time, she has chosen to stand as her daughter's shield against the cold winds of the past. Christmas is close. Lights and decorations should be filling the air with warmth. Yet inside this little countryside home, a cold, heavy silence settles in. Huyen strokes Maya's hair slowly, promising that she will never allow anyone's cruel words to hurt her again. Outside, birds chirp as usual, unaware of the storm quietly raging inside a mother's heart. As Maya eats, Huyen gently lifts her chin, encouraging her to sit straight and look forward. "Hold your head high," she says softly, as though passing on strength she herself is still learning to find. This Christmas won't just be about pine trees and shining lights. It will be about a mother and daughter standing together, facing fear, beginning the slow work of healing wounds that words once caused. As evening approaches, Dee's tall figure appears at the entrance of the narrow alley, a fresh green pine branch resting across his shoulder. The scent of pine resin drifts through the air, carrying the spirit of distant mountains into their small home. Huyen hurries outside, her eyes lighting up the moment she sees it. I searched all over the pine hill just to find this one, Day says, with a proud, gentle smile. Maya squeals with excitement, hopping around the branch in small circles. Together, they set the pine into a container of water, lightly burning the base so it will stay fresh longer. The sunset pours through the window, bathing the green needles in a warm, reddish glow. Huyen begins hanging strands of shimmering tinsel, her hands shaking slightly, not from cold, but from emotion. This isn't just a Christmas tree. It's a symbol of persistence, of love carefully built day by day in a simple life. Maya stands beneath it, gazing upward, her eyes sparkling like tiny stars. Diep places a hand gently on Huyen's shoulder. They exchange a quiet look, no words needed. In that moment, they both understand how precious this ordinary happiness is. Maya's laughter fills the room, easing the worries that lingered from the morning. The pine stands tall and vibrant, like a promise that this Christmas will be one of healing, warmth, and togetherness. Just as Huyen and Day are lost in decorating, the door slowly opens. A stranger stands there, holding a basket of gifts, his smile shy and uncertain. "Don't you recognize me?" he asks. "I'm the one who had the accident. You helped take me to the hospital." He pauses, then breaks into laughter as recognition dawns on him. He quickly invites the man inside. Thomas, once just a name tied to a distant memory, now sits in their home, his eyes warmly taking in the simple surroundings. He speaks of his recovery, his gratitude sincere and heartfelt. "If it weren't for you," he says, "I wouldn't be here today." The mood in the room shifts from surprise to quiet appreciation. Maya peeks out curiously from behind her mother. Smiling, Thomas pulls a small Christmas dress from the basket. "I brought a gift for her too." Maya gasps with delight, hugging the dress tightly. Huyen feels her eyes grow moist as she looks at this man who was once a stranger, now feeling unexpectedly close. Bibi, the disabled little dog, trots over, tail wagging happily, as if recognizing an old friend. In that instant, the small house seems to open wider, welcoming a gentle breeze of kindness and connection. Christmas, it turns out, isn't just for family by blood, but also for those whose lives briefly crossed in moments that mattered most. Thomas settles into his seat, his gaze slowly drifting down to Bibi, who lies curled up near the table leg. His expression softens. 2 years ago, he begins quietly. Huyen was my girlfriend at that time, and we found this dog abandoned on the roadside. Day listens without interrupting, nodding as Thomas continues. He talks about that rainy afternoon, about the panic and helplessness he felt seeing the injured dog, and about the regret that still lingers because he didn't have enough money to give Bibi proper treatment back then. His voice lowers as he says, "I've always felt sorry for her." After a brief pause, Thomas looks up, his tone sincere and hopeful. "I know a few very skilled veterinary clinics. If you agree, I'd like to take Bibi there and see if treatment is still possible." Huyen and Day exchange a glance. Gratitude, surprise, and emotion mix silently between them. Thomas then takes out an envelope, carefully placing it on the table. "This is to return the hospital fees from that day," he says, "and a little extra. as my thanks. Dee gently pushes the envelope back, shaking his head. I'll only take back the hospital fees, he replies firmly. Helping someone should come from the heart, not with the expectation of repayment. The atmosphere grows warmer. Formalities fade as they begin properly introducing themselves. Dee mentions his age, 38. Thomas smiles and says he's 30. Small details lead to simple conversations, and soon the room fills with the sound of ordinary life stories. Thomas looks around the house again, his eyes lingering on the modest furniture, the half-decorated Christmas tree, the soft glow of the lamp. A faint sadness crosses his face. My family used to be very happy too, he says quietly. But now, the sentence trails off, unfinished, leaving a gentle ache in the air. Then Thomas exhales, smiles lightly, and stands up. Let me help with the tree, he says, as if choosing to step out of the past and into the present. In that moment, gratitude is no longer something spoken. It becomes an invisible thread, quietly weaving strangers together and turning this Christmas into something deeper. An evening of forgiveness, understanding, and renewed hope. Under the soft yellow glow of the oil lamp, 3 adults stand side by side, decorating the pine tree. Thomas carefully hangs each ornament, his movements slow and deliberate, as though afraid the moment might slip away too quickly. Watching them, he speaks softly, almost to himself. Seeing the way you live, simple, together, he says, I really long for this kind of life. I truly want a life like this. Huyen smiles gently, her fingers brushing against the pine needles. She doesn't answer right away. Instead, she lets the warmth of the moment settle in her chest, a quiet gratitude for the peace she once thought she might never have. Maya runs circles around the tree, laughing freely as Bibi follows her with short, eager steps. The room fills with laughter, mixed with the fresh scent of pine. Thomas begins sharing stories about his city life, the crowded streets, the constant rush, the silence of lonely apartments during holidays. He talks about Christmas nights spent alone after his family fell apart, about how lights felt colder when there was no one to share them with. His words sound like a confession, raw and honest. Day and Huyen listen without judgment, offering nothing but their presence. When Maya disappears briefly into her room and returns wearing the Christmas dress Thomas brought, everyone reacts at once. So beautiful, Huyen exclaims. Day laughs, nodding in agreement. Thomas looks at the little girl, his smile tinged with sadness. I hope someday, he says quietly, I can have a daughter as adorable as her. The words carry a small crack of longing, but Thomas quickly straightens himself, returning to the ornaments. The tree gradually fills with light and color, glowing brighter with every decoration. At that moment, the house feels larger than its walls. It becomes a symbol, not of perfection, but of yearning. A yearning for simplicity, for love, for peace that survives even after loss. Christmas, once again, proves it is more than a holiday. It is a reminder that peace can still be found if one is brave enough to open their heart. Laughter echoes softly around the finished tree when a phone suddenly rings. Thomas checks the screen, and his expression shifts. He listens for a moment, then stands. I'm really sorry, he says apologetically. Something urgent came up. I'll need to leave now. Huyen and Dee invite him to stay for dinner, their voices filled with genuine reluctance. But Thomas smiles and shakes his head. Another time, he says warmly. I promise. Before leaving, He places the fruit basket back on the table, adjusting it neatly, as if leaving a piece of himself behind. He exchanges a final look with each of them, then gently closes the door. The house grows quiet again, returning to its familiar stillness. Huyen picks up the envelope Thomas left and hands it to Dee. "Keep it for me," she says softly. Day nods, accepting it without a word. Maya's voice breaks the silence. "Can we eat the fruit now?" she asks eagerly. Soon, the family is gathered around the table, washing, peeling, and sharing the sweet slices together. The Christmas lights blink gently on the tree, reflecting off their smiling faces. Bibi curls up beneath the branches, breathing softly, as if she truly belongs there, another member of the family. There is nothing extravagant about this Christmas. No grand feast, no loud celebration. Just warmth spreading quietly through simple moments. Huyen looks at Day, then at Maya, and feels gratitude rise within her. Life may still be filled with challenges and shortages, but love, real, steady love, remains abundant. Thomas has left, but the greatest gift he gave wasn't in the basket or the envelope. It was the reminder that kindness returns in unexpected ways, that warmth can exist even between strangers, and that Christmas never belongs to just one family. It belongs to anyone who knows how to cherish, protect, and share what truly matters. The story follows a quiet yet meaningful Christmas shared by Huyen, Day, and little Maya.
Trong câu chuyện cảm động này,
When Maya
Huyền đoàn tụ
reveals
với
the
đệ
pain of
sau
being
nhiều tháng
rejected
xa cách.
and
Mối
scolded
dây
by
liên
her
kết của họ
grandmother,
được củng
Huyen
cố
makes
bởi
the
sự
firm
vắng mặt
decision
và tình
to
yêu bền
protect her
vững.
child
Cùng nhau,
from
họ tập
further
trung chăm sóc
emotional
cô
harm.
gái Maya, xây dựng một mái
Amid
ấm
these
an toàn
struggles,
và tràn đầy
Dee
yêu thương.
brings home a pine
Đồng
branch,
thời hỗ trợ Tử
restoring
Vi,
warmth to
một
their
cô gái
small
trẻ
family.
đang đối mặt với khó khăn.
The
Những
unexpected
khoảnh khắc gia
arrival
đình
of
chuẩn bị
Thomas,
bữa ăn,
a man they
dựng lên
once
một cấu
saved,
trúc cho Maya
introduces
và
gratitude,
chia sẻ tiếng cười,
old memories, and
phản ánh
kindness
tình
without
yêu sâu sắc
expectations.
và sự quan tâm
Through
lẫn nhau
honest
trong gia đình.
conversations,
Tuy nhiên,
a shared effort
sự
to
bình yên của
decorate
họ
the
gián đoạn
Christmas
khi
tree,
những kẻ xâm nhập
and
xuất
the
hiện,
innocent laughter of a
tìm kiếm Tử
child,
Vi và làm nổi
strangers
bật sự mong
gradually
manh
become
và những
connected.
nguy hiểm mà họ phải đối mặt.
This Christmas
Những căng
is
thẳng
not
và bất
defined
định,
by luxury
Huyền và
or
Đệ lên kế
noise,
hoạch cho một tương
but
lai
by
an toàn
healing,
hơn, quyết định trở
understanding,
về miền Bắc
and
để
quiet
gần gũi
hope.
hơn với gia đình và mang lại
The
sự ổn
story
định cho
gently
Maya.
reminds us that
Qua những thử
love,
thách, mối đe dọa và
forgiveness,
những
and peace can
kết
still
nối chân
grow
thành,
from simple
câu chuyện
acts,
ca ngợi sức mạnh
and that
tình
the
yêu,
true
gia
spirit
đình
of
và sự
Christmas
kiên cường trong công việc,
lives in compassion
tạo dựng hy
and
vọng và
shared
an toàn.
humanity.